You are 15 years old, you live in Colville, population 33,000, coal pits, quiet cul-de-sacs. Nothing happens here. Nothing is supposed to happen here. Your mom thinks you're in your room doing homework. You are in your room. That part's true. You call yourself Kraka. It's not a name your teachers know, not a name your mates use at school. It's the name you chose. The one that feels real when everything else feels like a costume. You don't realize it yet, but the gap between Kane and Kraka is going to get wider, much wider. Until one day, you can't find the seam. The bedroom is small. The screen is big, relatively. There's a half-empty Coke Zero on the desk, a window with the curtains drawn, even in daylight. You've got a laptop, a Discord server, a list of grievances, and no idea how loud your voice actually is. You're angry, genuinely. You read about drone strikes, about surveillance states, about governments that spy on citizens and call it safety. You read about Gaza, about the lies packaged as policy. You're not wrong about most of it. That's what makes this complicated. That's how it starts, not with a plan. With anger looking for a wall to throw itself against. You find others online. They call themselves CWA, fracas with attitude, no budget, no sophistication, just teenagers spread across a continent, furious and bored in equal measure, sharing hacks and jokes, and a vague sense that the system deserves to be embarrassed. You're not nation, state, actors. You're not criminals. Not yet anyway. Not in your own minds. You're just kids who figured out that the powerful aren't as careful as they pretend to be. Level 2. The First Strike. The target is James Clapper, Obama's intelligence chief, the man who runs America's spy apparatus. You find his home phone number on Google. Read that again. Go ahead. His home phone on Google. He doxed himself. You're laughing so hard your eyes water. Default is laughing too, somewhere across the Atlantic. A guy you've never met in person, whose face you've never seen, is the closest thing you have to a partner in this. You reroute Clapper's home line to a pro-Palestine hotline. Every call, routed by a kid in a British bedroom. Default tweets about it. The small community of people who pay attention goes electric. You feel something you've never felt before. Power, clean and cold and immediate, the kind that doesn't ask permission. Your voice shakes a little when you talk about it afterward. You notice that. You don't mention it to anyone. You tell yourself it's a prank, a political statement. Both are true. Neither is the whole truth. The whole truth is simpler and harder to say out loud. It feels good. It feels like finally being heard. That's how it starts. Level 3. The Ghost. You don't touch a single line of code to break into the CIA director's email. That's the detail the newspapers won't quite understand later. No malware, no exploit, no hacker movie montage. Just a phone and a voice. Brennan's on Verizon. You know that from a reverse lookup, information if you know where to look. You call Verizon tech support. You tell a story, a convincing, ordinary, bureaucratic story about a customer on site and tools down. The rep is confused but cooperative. You invent an employee verification code on the spot. 6 digits. Plausible enough. It works. They give you his account number, his PIN, his backup phone, his home address, his AOL email, the last 4 digits of his credit card. You don't realize it yet, but this is the lesson that will haunt every intelligence agency for the next decade. The human being answering the phone is always the weakest point. Every firewall, every encryption protocol, every billion-dollar infrastructure, none of it matters if someone on the inside just wants to be helpful. You call AOL next. You are panicked, locked out. You answer the security questions with the data you just harvested. The rep resets the password. You log in. Hundreds of emails, attachments, forwarded CIA communications, a 47-page SF-86 security form, Brennan's personal clearance profile, social security numbers, phone numbers for senior intelligence officials, a Senate letter about torture programs. Nothing moves for a moment. Then, you click. You message, default. Dude, I'm in. We have full access. A 16-year-old, the CIA director's inbox, the quiet bedroom in Colville. The power in the room is different now. You can feel it, though you couldn't name it. Something has shifted, not just in the screen, in you. The old version of Kane, the one who thought this was a prank, is already starting to fade. There's no going back. Level 4. The phone call. You dial the number. Brennan answers on a secure line. Private number. The kind of number that isn't supposed to exist for a kid in England. You say hello. You call him a loser. Not elegant. Not political. Just a teenager who can't quite believe it's working. He demands to know how you got the number. It was so easy, bro. You hang up. You're still laughing. 5,000 miles away, the director of the CIA sits in silence. The line is dead. The paranoia is just beginning. You don't know what that silence looks like. You don't think about it. You're still laughing. That's the age you are. The age where consequences are theoretical and the win is immediate. The CWA posts to Twitter, screenshots, names, partial documents. They mock the agency in public, in real time, from behind anonymous accounts, AFAX, faceless handles with loud mouths. CIA, set your game up, homies. We own everything. Free Palestine. Brennan goes dark, extra security details, closed meetings, everything classified retroactively, all because a teenager picked up a phone and told a convincing story to a Verizon rep. One of you goes live on Twitch, voice only, no face, and explains how you got in, publicly, on the internet. You don't realize it yet, but someone is watching every single one of these posts, writing it all down. Level 5. The distance. Here's what no one writes about in the news articles. Your mom still thinks you're in your room doing homework. At dinner, you talk about school. Normal things. You pass the salt. You watch television. You go to bed at a reasonable hour some nights. Meanwhile, in the hours she doesn't see, you're inside the private communications of the most powerful intelligence apparatus on Earth. The lie isn't dramatic. That's what makes it strange. There's no single moment where you decide to deceive her. It just happens. The bedroom door closes, and Kane disappears, and Kraka takes over. And when the door opens again, you're just a teenager who wants a biscuit. But the distance has started, quietly, like rot in a wall. You can't explain what you did today. Not the thrill of it. Not the fear underneath the thrill. Not the way the screen feels like the real world now, and the dinner table feels like something performed. You don't realize it yet, but this is how it actually ends. Not with the arrest, not with the courtroom. It ends here, in the gap between who you are online and who you pretend to be at the table. Every hour you spend as Kraka, Kane gets smaller. There's no going back from that either. Level 6. The heat. The FBI calls it cyber terrorism. The headlines call you stoner high schoolers. Both are technically accurate. By September 2016, 2 of your American associates, Boggs, Default, are in custody. Alexandria Federal Court? The charges are serious. The distance across the Atlantic feels suddenly very thin. In Leicester, things are quieter than they should be. Broadband usage flagged, servers examined. Whispers of an investigation that hasn't announced itself yet. You're still in the bedroom. You're still laughing at memes. The thrill is still louder than the fear. But the fear is there now. You feel it in the pauses between the jokes, the half second before Discord loads, the way you look at the front door sometimes. You push further, anyway, because stopping feels like losing, because admitting it's real means admitting that everything that felt like a game was always something else. So you poke at the Department of Justice, the FBI's own law enforcement enterprise portal. You post files, you boast, you live stream again, voice only, no face, and tell the world you have a spy chief's social security number. The world is watching, including the people you should be afraid of. Level 7. Game over. February 9th, early morning, cold, quiet. You're in a hoodie, half asleep at the keyboard. There's a Coke Zero on the desk. Still, always, the Coke Zero. The knock comes. Cybercrime unit. Something snaps. Not courage, not bravado. Just the simple animal recognition that the thing you always knew might happen has finally happened. They take the laptops, the phones, the Coke Zero, for good measure. The empire of CWA, built on Discord chats and Google searches, and the beautiful terrible weakness of helpful customer service representatives, stands still. For the first time, Kraka is exactly where he never thought he'd end up. Level 8. The verdict. In court, they call it cyber terrorism. They talk about families harassed, secrets spilled, senior officials terrorized. They're not entirely wrong. You are somber in the dock. The grin is gone. You say, and you mean it, that you never meant personal harm. that you were making a point, that you were just a kid in a bedroom trying to be heard. The judge sends you to a youth detention center. 2 years. The world calls it justice. Maybe it is. But here's what the verdict doesn't address. You already made your point. You already won the argument you came to make. Every firewall in the world, every classified protocol, every billion-dollar intelligence infrastructure, and it all came apart because a rep at Verizon wanted to be helpful, and an AOL customer service agent didn't want a caller to feel frustrated. The human element was always the weakest link. You knew that. Now everyone knows it.